So let's talk about culture because culture and the relationships you have inside and outside of your organization will be key to growing a successful business. Let's take, for instance, your team. How are you looking for ways to really celebrate and motivate them to go that extra mile? Are you watching for ways that you can show little appreciation or acknowledgement? Because it's those little things that do matter and make people want to work harder. I'm going to give you an example. It's kind of a silly story, but I think it shows you, just how much you can make sure that your team is working hard, loves working for you. So when I was 18, 19 years old, I was working for in my first corporate role. And I was part of this group. There were probably about six of us, and we all worked in these little cubicles where the walls were, you could see over them if you stood up and you could talk kind of thing. Well, I had a manager, a really nice guy, and I remember one day he was going out to lunch. So he kind of popped through the little cubicle area where we sat, and he said to me, "All right, I'm heading out to lunch with Joe. I'll be back in a while." And me being the wise guy, without really thinking, I said, "Great, glad you thought of me for lunch. See you later." And he stopped and he kind of laughed and then he moved on. Well, about an hour later, he came back from that lunch and he came marching back the opposite direction through the cubes. And he stopped by my desk and he plopped down. Now, mind you, this was back in the 90s. And so they had gone to Burger King and he plopped down one of those plastic collectible cups that those restaurants used to offer. It was like a Disney cup and they had this whole line. And he said, "Here, don't ever say I don't think about you." And then he went to leave. Now, all of the women in those cubes saw this and it took me by such surprise. I kid you not. I actually started to cry. It was like an instantaneous response that this was so sweet. It was probably a $5 cup, if even that. And I'll tell you, I used that thing until it broke, but all of the people in the space went nuts. Like, this guy was so considerate in such a simple way. People loved him for that. But think about what that created in that work environment at that moment. And it was such a little thing. So how can you watch for those moments for your team and just create that, that specialness, make people want to be there and be part of it? I hope this helps. Always glad to have conversation and brainstorm more ideas if you need them.